Good day. Today is the 29th day of May 2018, and it's Stephen Bruck bringing you another Messianic moment. Before we start today, please, if you like what you hear, share me out. Go to the right side of your screen on the MessianicMoment.com webpage and subscribe. And if you're watching the YouTube, go down to that bottom little corner, the Messianic Moment logo, the little box, and click on that, and please subscribe. I do appreciate your being here, and I love to hear your comments. If you don't mind, please make them on the website, MessianicMoment.com, so that people who will be reading this instead of watching the video can also share with it. I was reading Daniel the other day, because I'm going through the Bible. I go from the front to the back, or the front to the back as you're looking at it. And I noticed something that I really never picked up before in chapter 6 of Daniel, because Daniel now is one of the Ketuvim, the writings of the Tanakh, which is the Old Covenant. And in chapter 6, that's the story of Daniel and the lion's den. We're all pretty much familiar with it. Yeah, the other chiefs that were assigned to rule the kingdom under King Darius tried to find something wrong with Daniel, because the king had pretty much promoted Daniel above everybody else. But they couldn't find one thing wrong with him. Now, they knew that he prayed every day, 3 times a day, to God facing Jerusalem. So what they did is they fooled the king into signing a decree that said for 30 days nobody could pray to any other god other than to the king or to the king's gods. Knowing that Daniel wouldn't follow that, they just waited until after the document was signed, and then the next time Daniel went to do his prayers, they found him, they brought him before the king, and they said, "Hey, king, he ignored you." Well, the king was forced, even though he tried to find something to get around it, he was forced to throw Daniel into the lion's den. And the next morning, the king went down and said, "Daniel, you okay?" And Daniel said, "Yes, I'm fine." And the king then realized that he had been fooled into this, and the others conspired. So he took all the chiefs that had conspired against Daniel, took them, their whole families, and everybody, threw them in the lion's den. They didn't fare as well in the lion's den as Daniel did. Yeah. And the Bible states it was Daniel's faith in God that saved him. No doubt about that. But was it just Daniel's faith? You know, we're told Daniel had faith in God, God saved him, yes, but let's look a little closer at what it says in that particular chapter. I'm going to start chapter 6, verse 16. This is from the NIV version. So let's take a look at it, okay? So the king gave the order, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." A stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring and with the rings of his nobles, so that Daniel's situation might not be changed. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night without eating and without any entertainment being brought to him, and he could not sleep. At the first light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. When he came near the den, he called to Daniel in an anguished voice, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" Daniel answered, "May the king live forever. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done any wrong before you, your majesty." The king was overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound was found on him, because he had trusted in his God. Alright, so, no argument that Daniel's faith was a contributing factor, but I think we need to also consider the faith of King Darius. Let's look at what he did after being forced to send Daniel to his death. When he sent Daniel to the pit, he acknowledged God as someone able to save. That night he fasts and he afflicts himself all night, which culturally was a means of sacrificing to attain the favor of one's God. In this case, I think it was clear he was doing this to attain the favor of the God of Daniel. When he goes to check on Daniel, first thing in the morning, he asks the living God, another acknowledgement of God as unique, asked if he had been able to save Daniel. Now, I don't have it here, but when you read the chapter, you see after this, the letter that King Darius sends throughout his kingdom further acknowledges and recognizes the God of Daniel as a powerful and the living God whose kingdom will never be destroyed. Now, I don't think that what Darius did indicates he converted, but it does show that he had faith in Daniel's God and recognized Daniel's God as an all-powerful and true God. I believe the humility, the faith, and the respect that Darius showed for the God of Israel was also a very strong contributing factor to Daniel's rescue. And in the book of Daniel, we see similar actions by King Nebuchadnezzar, such as when he lost his sanity for 7 years after coming back to his senses. He also acknowledged the power and the awe and the majesty of the God of Daniel. And he did so also when Daniel's 3 friends were thrown into the fire. This is one of the many, many wonderful things about our God. God is not only willing and able to save, but he is also willing to accept the prayers of anyone, even those that don't worship him exclusively, so long as they come before him humbly and repentant. God will and can and does use even those who do not worship him for good, as long as they come before him respectful and humble. Let me say that again. God will use for good even those who do not worship him, as long as they come before him respectful and humble. And, even sometimes when they don't. Darius had many gods, but he showed great faith in the God of Israel. And I believe that this really also contributed to the saving of Daniel from the lion's den. What do you think about that? Please come back with some comments. Again, if you like what you hear, share me out. I appreciate you being here. This is probably one of my shortest messages ever. You can just say, thanks, Steve. And I do appreciate having you listen to me. Please subscribe, and I just want to wish you a great day. Have a wonderful day. Baruch Hashem.